All right, it says we are live. It says it's 8:31, so we're just about on time. And it's this week unloaded. Welcome. And so far tonight with us, we have fellow countryman who's really Jason Stewart. He's trying to throw everybody off his trail. How are you tonight, Jason?
I'm doing good, Rich. Thanks for the invite. Good to see everybody.
Yep, no problem. And next we got Buck Stanley, aka Gun Loving Grandpa. How are you tonight, sir?
Doing good. How's everybody doing tonight?
Not too bad. And then next we had Rob D, the New York Outcast. I bet you can't figure out where he's from. How you tonight, Rob?
Doing good. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
And bringing up the rear, who was actually in here first, but he had to go. He dropped out and came back in as Squib. How you tonight, Squib? Did you guys hear what Squib said? I couldn't hear what I don't know if his volume's low.
I said StreamYard sucks.
Ah. And maybe that's why your volume's low because StreamYard sucks.
He was pretty low to me.
Yeah.
Low down and dirty.
Now. Yes. Okay.
I have to quack it up a few notches.
Yeah. Anybody got anything they want to talk about? Because I don't know what to talk about. What are we going to talk about?
Well, real men on the East Coast are going to the Rod of Iron Freedom Festival. So if anybody's interested or, want to show up, there's a lot of good stuff going on. Should be an outside festival. Firearms, fireworks, bonfires, hang out all evening, according to what reviews from what people stated last year. All types of good stuff, gun related, free event. So, if you got a pair, show on up.
Yeah, your volume's dropping off a little too, Rob. I don't know if you can boost it any. But yeah, that's at the car plant, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Is the volume any better?
It's slightly.
Cheap dollar store headset.
Yeah, I'd like to go, but my wife's work schedule isn't going to allow that one. And she's already got 3 days off in a row later on in the month, and we're heading to Gettysburg. Hopefully, yeah. She's like, hopefully. Her boss is an idiot, but she's supposed to have 3 days off last week last week of the month. So we're going to take like a mini vacation and head up to Gettysburg and just hang out up there and look at the sights and whatnot. It's only a couple hours from here, so.
You never make it to anything. I'm starting to think you're a cyborg like Night Strike.
No, it's just I'm stuck. If my wife can't take me, I'm stuck. And there's like nobody around here that could, I could ride along with or anything. You know what I mean? Kingpin's like the closest one to me, and he'd have to come all the way back. He'd have to come all the way out here and then go halfway back again to go up towards where the event's at. That's if he could get off because of his work schedule lately.
Well, if you start walking, you could probably meet Kingpin right there at the middle. And y'all just shoot straight on up.
See, if Snob were going, he'd have to head through this way. That was originally supposed to be my ride for the DC rally last year. Was supposed to be Snob, but then he had something happen and he had to work and couldn't go. And him and Stacy were going to pick me up. They were going to come here, stay at one of the motels in this area. Then the next day we were going to go from here down to DC. But that fell through because of him having to do something happened and he had to end up having to work that day. I'm about to say that weekend. Well, yeah, it would have been the weekend because it would have been 2 days for them. But yeah.
Sure. According to his last trip, they probably just couldn't get a cheap enough hotel. The Snob tends to be a cheap son of a gun.
Oh no, there's two right here that don't cost a whole lot.
I'm just trying to throw a low blow at them for some reason.
He's not even out there, man. You're
That's
you're
how I
waiting.
say hello.
You're just wasting your shot, man. Speaking of people that are out there so far, we have Upload Mofo, Party Plan, Vanessa Kitty, and D-Temp. So, hello, folks.
They must have heard about the free gun giveaway.
Wrong channel, man. Wrong channel.
The ammo giveaway.
Yeah, no, that ain't happening either. I'm still trying to find ammo for myself. I ain't got enough to give away.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a common story for a while. No ammo. I mean, we've already been that way. I don't think it's changing.
Keep hearing people saying that they're getting it for $13 a box and shit. Like, where? I haven't found a box, let alone one for $13.
Well,
Some little pockets are still under a rock, apparently.
I bought a 50-round box of Fiocchi 9mm for like $15, almost $16. But you're only allowed to have one a day.
Yeah. D-Temp says easy way to find ammo is switch to 40. Not in this area. Ain't nobody got any 40 either.
They got tons of 40 because nobody shoots that shit.
Not around here. Everybody shoots 40 around here.
Well, I guess whatever. But the thing is, though, I think it comes down to your store supply chain. Okay, how good of a setup do they have with the manufacturers? I know the manufacturers have had shortages, but they're sending stuff out. So if you've got the contract and your guy works it, then you're going to get the stuff. The only thing is, you just may not be getting as much as you did. So if you're dividing that up amongst all your stores, that's not going to be a whole lot. So they put it on the shelf Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. and it's gone by 10:15. Oh well, but people are walking out of there with one $15 box each. It exists. You just got to look for it.
Yeah, around here we don't even have any the big box store types. We just have like the little mom and pops, and they got nothing. That's 9mm, nothing. 40, nothing. 45, nothing.
They've got no purchasing pull with the distributor or manufacturer. They're gonna be like, "Hi, I'm Joe Blow Ammo Shop. I need, I don't know, 10 cases of ammo." They'd be like, "Did you say 10 pallets?" No, I said 10 cases, and they'll hang up on them.
Yeah, we don't got Cabela's or Bass Pro or anything. The closest Bass Pro to here is in Baltimore, down by Kingpin. I know I get Kingpin to pick it up and have him drive it up here to me. I'm sure he'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I've only got like 3 places near me. 2 are the same. They're a chain that shall not be named because they're pricks, which kind of rhymes with their name, and a small gun shop. So, and you're lucky to find anything in there nowadays. So they continuously have one brand of 9mm with limits on it for $35.99 a box of 50. That's it. So I've been driving close to an hour at minimum to find ammo when I'm lucky enough to find it.
My shop is a family-owned shop. Excellent supply of firearms of all types and good quality. But even forever and back in the heyday here, they never were a big place for ammo. I mean, they'd have some, but like you couldn't get cases in the store, wasn't just packed. They just never were a big ammo seller. They were just more of like a gunsmith gun shop store. So it really hurts when, as thin as it is now. But they did get pistol primers in, and I've been picking those up for the last few days.
Yeah, the one shop around here, if you really wanted any ammo from them, you had to have them order it in. Like if you wanted to, otherwise they just have a couple of boxes here or there.
Oh, I heard about a poll the other day. I believe it was something the lady wrote on Drudge. So, yeah, put what faith you want in that. And being a poll, that's a whole nother questionable thing. But they stayed over, I think it's 58% of Americans think we might be going into a civil war. So that might explain some of the ammo shortage.
Well, there's all the new gun owners out there, and you have all the people that are afraid there's going to be a civil war, and you've also got slowdowns from all this crap that's gone on that's affected damn near every industry. And Jason was saying there they just got in pistol primers where he's at. Yeah, that stuff's been coming in and out the whole time. I heard people saying back in March, "Oh, you can't get this," and I went out and bought a bunch of it. And then they said it again like in June, and I went out and bought a bunch of it. It's like reload supplies are out there. You just got to look for them. Oh, it might be out of stock today, but that's going to come back in, I think, faster than whole cartridges. But as more and more people get into reloading, that's going to make it a little bit more difficult right now and maybe even in the future. So if you just got into reloading and you can't find anything, when it does come back, normal price, normal availability, gradually pick up a bunch. And the next time there's a shortage, you can be sitting at home making smart-ass videos too. But that stuff is out there. It's not as easy to find. It's not as cheap. Part of the reason the stuff is marked up is because they're paying overtime and double time to their employees, or they're having to source raw materials from other vendors. I was talking with somebody who works at an automotive place about an hour and a half from here, and they buy their copper from China. Well, they've had trouble getting it over here. So they've had to buy from other sources, which is difficult to do when you don't have contracts and stuff set up. And now they have to pay more for that copper, so then they have to transfer that on to the automotive company that they end up making their parts for and shipping to, and that gets passed on to the customer, et cetera, et cetera. So some of that markup is price gouging, and some of that markup is paying employees overtime and double time.
Have you guys heard you can make orders from Federal Direct?
I don't think any of us can order from a manufacturer direct. I mean, like a small.
Federal you can.
Federal you can. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
curious
I heard that.
Anybody's checked what their price is versus to what price you're seeing for the
Their
same box on the
prices,
shelf? Because I'm seeing Federal for $27 a box, and
their prices.
when I see it.
Yeah, the prices on Federal, I haven't looked since the shortage, but usually their prices run about what the MSRP on it would be.
Okay. I'm sorry, not 27. $17.99 is what I'm seeing when I see it. So, and I've heard other people say that. I'm just curious because it might give us an idea on the markup in a sense. Is Federal still selling it for $12 a box, or are they selling it for $17 now?
Yeah, like I said,
one of you guys
haven't.
might have bought recently from them, or had an idea.
I haven't looked at their website recently to see what their prices are.
Yeah, my local gun store is selling Federal for $16.99 a box, and they went up to a 3-box limit now, but no 40 or 45.
Yeah, Snob was saying that Sarge ordered a bunch from Federal, and he paid like $25 or something a box.
Damn. No.
Gizzard Gary says you can buy it from Sig Sauer also, and that is true.
Yeah, that is true. I've looked on their prices on there before too. Ever since the ammo shortage, they've been out of everything on there that I was looking at. So I think there was once that they had any ammo in stock on on Sig Sauer's website, and I didn't have any money to buy any.
You know what we were talking about earlier about the shortage. I just wanted to add, it is like the perfect storm for ammo shortage. Like I said, the election year, the new buyers, the rioters and all that. You know what I mean? And then the COVID and the factories ain't even open. I mean, it's going to take a while to come back. It's just that's just how it's going to be.
We've had different shortages in the past, and there have been different reasons, but usually only been like one reason. This time, you're talking about 4 or 5 reasons, and it's hitting hard because there's just that much more of a load on the system, and the system is not designed to warehouse this stuff. The only places where there are warehouses of ammunition is the government. When that stuff comes in, even at big places like Midway USA or Brownells or something, it comes in, it's on the shelf a minimum amount of time, and it goes out the door. If these politicians wanted to do something to say, we will be ready for a pandemic the next time it happens, get rid of all tax laws regarding warehousing. If anything, give companies tax incentives to have and maintain warehouses. Almost nothing is in a warehouse anymore. You make it, you ship it to the distributor, it goes to the store, somebody buys it. If a retailer has a small warehouse, has a small storage, if somebody keeps so many parts on hand, they base it off of their sales. The computers keep track of what they're selling. And if they sell a lot of this and not a lot of that, then they're only going to keep this on the shelf because they got bean counters sitting upstairs going, well, you see every square foot of warehouse space, we pay this much in taxes. Therefore, we must minimize. And they don't give two flying shits about the customer because you need that part. You need that material. You need whatever it is that you're willing to pay the price, wait, whatever it is. I'm not saying there's nothing in a warehouse. Obviously, some places, I mean, if you look at numerous gun parts corporations, they're a gigantic warehouse full of gun parts. But I don't know how they deal with their taxes as far as, doing inventory and you have to pay. They take a snapshot. What's in the building right now? All right, you're paying taxes on that. So everything you've got in the building on that day, that's what's going to hit you up for your biggest operating costs. So it's kind of,
so why don't they just fumigate that day? Put all the shit outside and have more ammo for it.
Maybe they do move some stuff around. But all I'm saying though is, well, no,
Thanks,
I mean, there are some people that get around some of this stuff. But what I'm saying is, if Donald Trump wanted, I heard him say something about we'll be ready for the next pandemic. We'll be greater than ever. Okay, I didn't hear you say anything about doing something to give companies incentive to have a warehouse. I mean, understand some stuff is perishable, but other stuff lasts years, decades, maybe a century. So some things I think should be warehoused so we don't have these shortages. And, we can't count on government warehouses. They don't have to pay taxes, right? If you're a nonprofit or a government. So they've got plenty of stuff. But I just, the way our system is, this lean manufacturing, this just-in-time manufacturing system and distribution center system, that is the reason everything is out of stock. The factories should be able to you ever notice when there's a hurricane, they're like, oh my goodness, it did all this. We don't run out of meat. We don't run out of batteries. We don't run out of milk. Because that's just one part of the country. This affected damn near every part of the country. So you can't even reroute stuff or go to a different source for it to make up for it. When they had all those floods in Nebraska next year, I was hearing that this year we were going to have all these meat shortages and we were going to pay through, and none of that happened. And I know there's been some meat shortages because of COVID, but it never happened here. So, I mean, I think if the country went away from this lean manufacturing mentality, that would do more than wearing some stupid piece of cloth over your face.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had a meat shortage here either if the people in Maryland and Virginia would have stayed in their own darn states. And the New Yorkers, man. We had people from New York coming here and buying up all our stuff. Were you one of them, Rob? Is that why you're taking offense?
No,
were you down here buying our stuff, man? Come on, be honest.
No. Just wanted to say thanks to Snob for taking the time to look at that federal thing for us, give us an idea. So
yeah,
but no, it wasn't me, man. When I look to move or get out of here, I plan on fitting into where I'm going. Hopefully, low key, and I'll blend right in. They'll never notice.
Yeah, my kids.
The New York Underground.
My kids said there were people from New York getting belligerent with the managers because they told them that they could only get one pack of toilet paper. They thought they were going to buy a whole shopping cart full of toilet paper. It
don't surprise me. I honestly, I see people freak out about the dumbest things. I mean, you almost can't explain it. It's just that dumb sometimes. So yeah.
I saw a lady the other day. That was a couple people in front of me at the checkout line, and she threw a fit and stormed out of the store because when she got her change, one of the pennies was too dirty and she wanted a different penny, and the cash register told her, sorry, he already closed the door, locked the drawer, closed it, and she threw a big old fit and grabbed her packages and stormed out of the place.
She threw a fit because of a dirty penny.
Yeah, the penny was too dirty. She wanted a different penny.
I had a neighbor once. Thankfully, she's moved on with the help of an eviction, but that's another story. But her child was in our yard playing ball with a bunch of kids, and her child kicked the ball into their yard, and it went into the mother's garden. The mom came outside, freaked out on everybody out here, and made a huge scene, cursed and swearing up and down, and then called her son, and like 3 thugs came over, and they were threatening to kill people because her son kicked the ball into her garden. And she wouldn't listen. It was on camera. You think that we could talk to her? No. There was no reasoning with her. Crazy, man.
All I can say is the people need to lighten up.
Sounds like Detroit to me, except for the garden part.
That is crazy. Yeah, like I said, some of it makes absolutely no sense. I mean, if you just stop and think, but once there's a challenge, it's just like, 2 bulls going at it or something. It gets, it's nuts.
I told you once, I'm not going to tell you again. You keep your damn ball out of my flowers.
Yeah, keep your fireworks off my car too while you're at it. God damn it!
That I'll agree with.
That's why I said it.
Oh yeah.
I'll drop your ass like a dirty penny.
And somebody's launching fireworks in my car. I'm treating it like an act of war.
Yeah, I'd like to, but then I'd be on here saying, "Oh, come on, guys, send me some bail money and blah blah blah."
Yeah, you're in the wrong state for that. I felt threatened, officer, because they were shooting at my car. What's to stop them from shooting at my house next? Like, okay.
Dude, they did shoot the house. They shot all the houses. There was bottle rockets all over the street. Stuff all. I had mortar rounds in the back of my truck.
Yeah. See, they literally were turning your neighborhood into a war zone.
Yeah, dial 911. Yeah, there's a bunch of people out here having too much fun.
No, send out the National Guard. We're being invaded.
The part that gets me is there's a big empty parking lot, like 70 feet away, and I'm talking big. So why not do it there?
Because it's trespassing.
That takes too much intelligence. Common sense is not a thing anymore.
Because my fireworks stash is here, not out there in the parking lot.
Yeah, I ain't got no wheelbarrow to transport these fireworks. What you talking about, fool?
It's just too far to run when the cops come after their asses.
Yeah, maybe. You might be onto something with that.
You only got to run as fast as the slowest person.
But honestly, I don't even know why they run. The cops didn't do nothing. I mean, nothing. Even the next day when I called and showed them damage, like, because I had to make a report, nothing. So, I don't know.
Oh. It's vandalism, man. Vandalism. Yeah, that would have been funnier if you would have been a van, too. They vandalized the van.
I don't know, man. They were celebrating our nation's birthday, man. No harm, no foul. You should have been out there joined in, man. And then they wouldn't have shot your car.
There was harm.
If you'd been out there with them, they wouldn't have shot your car, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they saw him there in the window with the cell phone recording them. They're like, "We got to get that guy."
Yeah, he could have went out there. I got some extra stuff you want it.
Well, no, I was on a show, one of these damn shows, and on the video I released, you can see the reaction because I came down and asked them, to be cautious of the cars. You know, they asked the little girl was like, "You like fireworks?" And I was like, "Yeah, but just not so close to the cars." And then everybody turned and ran. The adult already took off as soon as they realized I was coming down the stairs. So yeah, so that's, and then after that, that's when they really shot my car. So.
Yeah, Snob had a message for you, so there it is on the screen, Rob.
Yeah, thanks, Snob. I understand. But I'm trying to get the hell out of here. It's cool that at least somebody actually from out of the state took a minute to look into New York State laws, because yeah, you think one thing, but even the people here don't know half the laws. But you take it takes more than a few minutes, but if you skim through, you'd probably be pretty shocked.
Yeah. There's some states out there with some really stupid laws.
I wanted to know why Ohio didn't make it anywhere in his list. I mean, was it my singing, or didn't you just like the song?
No. Every state that was in the top 10 is constitutional carry. Ohio doesn't qualify.
Well, he had the best. It didn't all have to be about the gun laws. Maybe the weather held us back. The weather of the road.
I'm a big proponent of constitutional carry. I'd like to see it here. But I can't believe that is the number one positive thing. Like, you know, they're going to have constitutional carry, but they've got something else. And I don't know. It's kind of like when I talk to people from Texas. They go, "Oh, man, you got a handgun registry. You're so oppressed." And I go, "Oh, man, you can't open carry a handgun. You're so oppressed." I think every state's got its pluses and minuses. Well, except for a handful. But there's still not even 25% of the states that are that bad.
Well, that's why all the top 10 were the ones that are that handful.
Plus, around here, the last time I checked, $100 was worth $100.
So, for example, all right, Rich, you've got constitutional carry there, right?
Yeah.
And West Virginia is one of the most gun-friendly states.
Yeah.
But you don't have a big gun store anywhere near you.
Well, that's because of the part of the state I live in. You go out to the western part of the state and they're there.
Right, okay, but I'm saying, I bet that didn't factor in. See what I mean?
Well, no, he did factor. West Virginia has a lot of gun shops and whatnot. The problem is I just live in a more rural area, and we don't have any of those large, big box stores like Gander Mountain and all that stuff.
We have better gun stores in Michigan in the rural areas, and some of them are fairly big. I mean, that pro shop big, and they're mom and pop. And they're in rural areas. That's the best place to go to buy ammo. But I don't think anybody took the time to factor that in. I'm not saying Michigan should have been number one gun, no. But I just, you know, I think there's a few things to factor in more so than who's got concealed carry or who's got constitutional carry or who's got red flag laws that they don't use or just, you know, stuff like that.
Did you watch the video, Squib?
Hell no, I'm not watching either one of them videos.
All right, I'm just checking.
Before
you go bash and stuff, I'm just checking.
West Virginia was 6th on his list, and the Snob was going by stuff that was out of date because they went and changed some laws early this year, and the places he was getting his information from didn't have that yet. So,
come on, man, we make high points here. That should have boosted up the list far.
That's
yeah,
that's a good point.
You know, I mean, what does that count for?
Come on, man, the high point.
Outcast, you got numerous gun parts corporation going for you.
Yeah, it's true. It's kind of shocking. It blows my mind sometimes when I'm driving somewhere and I'll see something that's gun related manufacturing. I'm like, holy shit! Like, almost feel like stopping and taking a picture. It's like, look at this. But,
Some of the gun stuff I ordered and had shipped in.
We can't have any of it though. They make it here and sell it somewhere else.
Well, yeah, they sell. Yeah, because some of the gun stuff I bought recently, it got shipped in from New Jersey. And I'm thinking, well, they don't need it anyhow.
Son of a bitch. We need it. We need it. We need it. Jersey needs it. We all need it. What we don't need is crazy ass laws everywhere. If you're legal, you're legal. Leave the rest of the stuff alone.
At least you're not saying that most of the people in your state are pro Second Amendment. It's just, you see, at least you're not saying that.
Yeah. I was just curious if Snob were to redo the list and he had all the correct laws for West Virginia where it would apply. Because they lowered our permit fee down to $25. And if you get your permit, the fees that you pay for your permit get refunded to you in a deductible tax credit at the end when you do your state income taxes. So eventually everybody gets their permit for free anyway. And if you're a veteran, you get it free up front.
I think Ohio has that for veterans too, or veterans don't have to take the class or something.
I'm not a veteran, so I couldn't tell you. But I know we used to have some good things with the hunting and fishing license. Like as soon as you were retired or on Social Security, when it went to 60 to 62 to 64. But any of those years in there, you got all your hunting license, all your waterfowl for free. You didn't have to pay for your hunting and fishing license. You got a little card letter in the mail, and it took care of everything. Now you don't even qualify for like half price fishing license till you're like 75, 80 years old. They won't give the seniors anything.
Well, another
I don't even know why they charge for that, to be honest. To me, it doesn't seem like it's their property for them to charge. If they didn't have a regulation, they would need somebody there walking around and seeing if you got a permit. So, to me, it makes me wonder. I don't know. And they do collect revenue by seizing people's ATVs and sometimes property and all types of other things. So, wouldn't be the only revenue source.
Oh, there's no fishing here without a license. I'll just tell you that right now.
Same here. And like daily, you'll see them going down the river bothering people, and the kid under 12 will have 6 fishing poles that don't know how to fish. It's the same thing. I get it, but I'm just wondering why. I don't see the need for it, honestly. I mean, maybe things would get overfished. I mean, if that's a legitimate reason, I get it, or something like that, or there should be seasons where you can only fish this or that. I understand.
To pay all the pension for all of the DNR officers that are assholes.
I don't know.
If you live on a border state and you buy more than like 2 or 4 guns in one purchase, your name goes on a list. Like they've got to do a special check on you, and your name goes on a list, right? And everybody thinks, oh yeah, Arizona because of Mexico. No, it's Michigan too because of Canada. Well, I've gone into the store and bought a whole stack of handguns. It didn't delay me. I didn't have to fill out any extra paperwork. Nobody's ever come knocking on my door going, what'd you do with all those handguns? You take them over to Canada, son? Nothing like that. So if you factor in stuff like that, okay, great. It might be a thing, but do they do anything with it? Kind of like the handgun registration here. It's a thing, but they don't do anything with it. Kind of like the red flag law in Indiana. It's a thing, but they don't do anything. So there's a practical application to some of these negative things.
Yeah, but everybody knows darn well you ain't taking them to Canada. You're ganging up with Indiana and taking them into Chicago.
If I'm ever going to take them into Chicago, it's to use them, not to sell them.
All right. Well, while we were talking about that stuff, we were joined by Pat Hirsch. How are you tonight, Pat?
This sounds like the beginning of a great movie.
You there, Pat? Pat may be having difficulties. So.
Squid in Chicago tonight at 11.
I was there once. It was kind of nice. We stayed downtown. I'd like to go back, but not with all the bullshit that's going on. They're not going to get my money. I could be there for a weekend and spending some money, but Mayor Beetlejuice doesn't want it.
To see you now in the pink shirt with a belt fed and a war cry.
Hey, have you all seen the movie The Purge or any of the Purges?
Yeah, and I think you're a dumbass if you leave your family to go be a dumbass.
No, the only one I watched was Meet the Blacks, which was a parody of it.
Yeah, I saw the Rick and Morty Purge episode.
I was just going to ask if there was the new founding fathers and there was a purge night. I'm just asking, are you going out for the night or are you staying home?
I'm staying home. Although if my home is secure, I don't know what could happen to the local bank. But other than that, I'm staying home.
I don't need to stay home. My home is well protected when I'm not there.
Yeah, you don't live next to Black Lives Matter and a bunch of crazy people like I do. So yesterday, a guy was freaking out, spazzed out in the street. The EMS had to come. Another guy got arrested because kids were getting high in a car. Today, a couple junkies were running around the back of some guy's house over here. Police came again. So, yeah, in my neighborhood, I'm more concerned about people than property. People than valuable. So, in a sense, if I can keep all my people safe and maybe a little something extra, then hey, it's a good day.
When you relocate, you're not going to know what to do.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I really enjoy is anytime I travel, doesn't matter where I go, people are always nicer.
Yeah, let's give this another try. Are you there, Pat? No, I don't think Pat's there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If y'all can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Just got done working some cattle this evening. And don't worry, there is no new ugly stories to tell. So I'm not going to run anybody out of the room. So.
Ghost ain't here yet.
Right. But it could get uglier than that. I mean, I've got uglier stories than that, but I'm not going to tell those right at the moment. So,
you got Pat, you got an echo, I think, or did you get it fixed? Okay, it's not echoing now. Nope. As soon as I say that, it does. So, yeah,
it's probably going right back.
Cow guy, I need to make an appointment for my friend Moo because I don't know if anybody's noticed, but his avatar's got some issues going on. So
yeah.
Maybe we could get you to do whatever you do to straighten him out.
Well, he heard Snob was cutting calves, so I mean that explains the whole thing there. If you know what that means. Pat would know what that means. He's probably doing it too. These sickos.
I seen the video myself. Quite disturbing to me.
Depends on what age you do it at, because there's about 3 different methods you can use on that.
Cringeworthy.
You still scare Moo doing it.
Oh, I could shoot a full-length video in about 5 minutes and show the easiest and the most humane all the way to the ugliest.
Snob says that they cut theirs at 500 pounds or so.
I do mine right at 12 hours.
One of these
You
days,
people are terribly mean.
Yeah, one of these days, Snob and Pat are gonna have to get together and do a show just on cattle raising. Not that anybody will watch it.
Give
But they need to
me
do a show.
forewarning, so I know to skip that one.
Well, when they're younger, it doesn't bother them near as much as when they get older, because a lot more blood involved when they get older.
Well, that's what the morphine's for too. I mean,
If somebody just tuned into the show right before you said that, they'd be going, "What did I tune into?"
they're probably wondering that anyway.
Let me ask a stupid question here. Why do you do that to the cattle?
The reason that we do that, we turn them from bulls into steers, is because the meat. It's just like deer. If you've ever had a full-grown male deer versus a good doe, it's the extra chromosome that gets into the meat and makes it taste more gamey and everything, especially if you're going to sell them on the market to a feedlot. So that's why you take the testicles away, and they're more apt to gain more weight when they're a steer versus a butcher. Yep. So the marble, just the composition of the meat changes, and it tastes way better. So if you're going to sell anything onto the market for slaughter, it's either a steer or a heifer.
Well, thank you very much for the explanation. It was a real question. I didn't know why you did it.
Anybody
Get
else?
a moment of silence for some cow nuts. Just one quick moment. Okay, continue.
Anybody else have any questions for the 4-H? I guess not. And you're still echoing.
Sorry, I had the mic turned on. And when I got the mic turned on, it'll echo. If somebody is hollering back at me, I'll shut it off.
Yeah, you're gonna rock the mic. You gotta rock the mic right.
Looks like Snob is saying that the butcher uses old bulls to make canned chili out of them.
Yeah, when they do like old bulls and stuff like that hasn't been cut, especially for like actual breeding stock bulls and stuff like that, they either get turned into dog food or ground hamburger with seasoning or something that they can take that really gamey flavor out of them. Because trust me, I've had some stuff from some custom butcher places that you could tell when they got a hold of an old bull. And, oh man, that meat sucks. It really does. It tastes weird.
Does it have a taste more like buffalo would, or just bad?
No, it just tastes bad. I mean, buffalo tastes good. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
buffalo really good lean meat, and it's bulls. It's got a wang to it. That's about all how I can describe it. It's just woof. It's got a different taste altogether.
Well, you know, if they didn't have a wang, they wouldn't be a bull.
Yeah. See, choice of word.
You're flipping there, Pat. I mean,
What's going on with the meat market? Right now, it seems like things are pretty slim at the store.
With the meat market right now, what's happening is, I don't know, they've got some really weird things going on as far as supply and demand goes. With all the COVID and everything, the big time packing plants like Swift and JBS, and I could rattle off 1,000 other different ones, but what's going on with COVID, they've had to slow everything down so much and keep everybody separated with all this crap, and it's really slowed down production. And we can't push the beef through like we used to, just because everything's slowed down so bad. And I know the demand's still there, but we just can't get the beef out because of the packers.
Well, could you do it yourself if it wasn't a government regulation thing? I mean, could you afford to pop up a cooler room and process your own meat to sell locally if it was, would that work out beneficial to you, or if there wasn't government regulation in the way?
Well, in the United States, you can actually, if it's for your family, you can actually take an animal, slaughter it yourself, put it in your own freezers and stuff. As long as it's not for resale, you can do it yourself. And which our family for.
Would it be affordable for you to do it for somebody else?
I think
if there wasn't a government regulation in the way.
I think I can answer that question for him. The answer is, if there was no government regulation stopping him, the price he would charge per pound for the same meat you buy at the store would be so high because he can't do it like a factory. He doesn't have a big workforce. He's not mass producing it. He's not doing everything in bulk. He's going to be doing it one or two people in a place that he's got to pay for himself and recoup the cost of. It's not an existing building. And then he's got a distribution system that, it's going to have to be word of mouth or relying on enough regular customers to come in and buy this stuff. And they're going to be local. It's not like he's going to be shipping it out in refrigerated trucks like a big factory. So if he did it and he wanted it to do it where he could even break even, the price per pound would be outrageous. When you mass produce something, you bring that unit price down so low, and we enjoy those prices at the store.
Yeah, but they usually get pennies on the dollar almost compared to what the store is selling.
Let's say you're paying $10 a pound for steak. Pat might have to charge you like $75 a pound to break even. That's the big difference between one or two people doing it in a pole barn where they put in a refrigerated room and all the butchers.
Do you agree with that, Pat?
Yeah, to a certain point. The way most of us do it around here, and like I said, you can't do it resale unless you're an actual butcher shop and have the government mandated and all that stuff. So no, he brings up a lot of good answers on that. But what most of us do around here is if we do a butcher and it's for like family or something like that, they come, they help out. And, but for the most part, he's right. I mean, if I was to do it, like there are mobile units that actually go out to farms and actually do custom beef. It's just somebody that has cows out there, like, I don't know, 5-10 head, something like that, even smaller. And they have a mobile butcher come in there and they slaughter it, slice it up. But as far as freezing it and stuff like that, that's on the customer. So they have to have all the freezer space and stuff, so which that helps out quite a bit. But that's why you see these little butcher shops and stuff, with custom cuts of beef and stuff like that, or pork or chicken or whatever they happen to be doing a run on, you know, just like anybody that processes deer. You'll see them. That's why the price is always higher on their stuff versus like Walmart or whatever chain happens to be in your area. But as far as cost effectiveness, yeah, if I was to go around and do that for people, yeah, it would be more. But in some cases, you know, you'd probably be getting a better cut and quality of meat versus some of these factories and stuff to pump it out. So that's where the little butcher shops and stuff really come in. That's where you really get your better quality cuts of meat and stuff.
Now, is it because of what you would have to pay the government to store and sell to the public? Would that be the breaker that would kill profit?
Yep, and yeah, and distribution, and because you gotta
your time, the equipment.
Yep. Yeah, it's all that stuff. I mean, Squib's pretty much right there on the money. But, you know, and then that's why we do that kind of with family stuff, you know, and we've got these great big 8x10 deep freezes and stuff. And so that's how it's more affordable to us just to do our own and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of rigmarole when it comes to that, especially when you got to be FDA inspected and stuff like that, especially when you have to have inspectors on hand. So as you get to a certain size and the FDA steps in.
Now, what Outcast was talking about, though, kind of got me thinking. Have you ever considered deer hunting to supplement the meat that you guys have to eat?
Yeah, I have in the past, just because, you know, like the sausage, summer sausage, and deer sticks or jerky, stuff like that. Yeah, definitely. Just because I love it. You know, I love the taste of the deer and everything, especially when, I don't know, a couple of my neighbors have actually got the grinders and stuff to do all that stuff, and add your own seasoning and stuff like that to it. Oh man, it's great. Love it.
I was presenting the question to Outcast.
I'm sorry, I was looking at Snob's comment here, so without trying to blow it up and lose my whole screen. What was your question, Squib?
Have you ever considered deer hunting to supplement the food that you've got?
Yeah, I've considered it. The issue in my area is if you don't know somebody for permission, it's not going to work. I'd catch more with my bumper, honestly. Basically, the state land that's available, you'll no joke drive down the highway sometimes and see like 30 cars on one side. People are getting shot all the time. I'm kind of dark as it is, and it's just not worth it to me. If I knew somebody with property that was big enough and, you know, they were nice enough to let me join, then sure, I would definitely get on board with that. But the expense that it would take for me to hunt not knowing somebody, it doesn't really, it's not beneficial.
Yeah, apparently it's not evil people that's out there selling the veal that the left's always throwing a fit about.
Yeah, and that's another thing. When the COVID really hit and shut everything down and just slowed all the processing plants and everything down, the demand went clear down just because nobody could get their hogs or their cattle or chicken, stuff like that, into the plants. So all these little butcher shops that usually do deer, venison, and farmers stuff. You know, all of our hogs and cattle and stuff, like we usually like to have it butchered up and stuff like that. They got so friggin' far behind that they were overloaded. The one place that I actually got 2 hogs in, my mom and dad and me and my wife, it was almost a month and a half before we could actually get the hog back, just because they were so far behind, because they got overloaded because all these farmers didn't have anywhere to go with their products. So they were basically selling it for pennies on the dollar to the butcher just to get rid of the animals on or in their feedlot or confinement buildings, you know, what have you on that.
It's all pig murder to me, Pat. I had a pet pig, man.
Love bacon.
Bacon.
Hey, they grew up delicious.
Sorry, Jason.
If I go deer hunting this year, which I'm still not sure if I'm going to be able to do, and I get one, I'm probably going to have to run out and get a deep freeze, because trying to keep it in the extra freezer downstairs, it's gotten crowded 2 years in a row. And depending on how big of a deer you get and how well you're either your butcher does a job with it or you do a job with it, you can get quite a bit of meat. And if you're not eating venison every week right after you shoot it, you can make it last quite a while.
Yeah, we used to get a side of beef and then have deer on top of it. And we had a freezer. When we moved here, my wife gave the freezer to my mother-in-law like an idiot. So I know where you're coming from, Squib. You don't have a freezer and you go and do that, you're in trouble.
Well, you might want to start looking into a freezer sooner than later. So they were pretty much wiped out. I don't know if resupply is picked up on those yet or what, but they were selling used POSs for dang near full price, at least in my area.
Yeah, when I did my dishwasher video, I commented that you could only get it in one color. If you wanted any other colors, they were all on back order for like 2.5 months. And somebody had commented in that video that their deep freeze broke and they needed to go out and just get a replacement. And they had to go all over looking for it because everybody's out of deep freezes. This is in the middle of the summer. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's the whole supply and demand thing. My dishwasher came from China. I think the washer and dryer I bought a couple years ago came from Mexico and whatnot. So that's another thing. Those are all things that they don't warehouse a ton of. They count on a regular shipment coming in, so they're not paying for warehousing. So, yeah, it affects everything. I mean, well, I did a video on it's called a scrubbing wand. It's a plastic handle that you put dish soap in, and it's got a sponge at the end, and you scrub dishes with it. You refill it and scrub dishes with it. Those were out of stock for 6 months. And I got a hold of the manufacturer and they said, yeah, we've had trouble making them because of all these shortages and whatnot. And I'm going, it's something you find, you know, with the latex gloves and the Dawn dish soap and the brooms and the mops and stuff like that in Walmart. What the hell 6 months you couldn't find these things. So some of the most ridiculous things are out of stock, or you're really limited on your choices because of what's going on.
Oh yeah, we were supposed to have our new dishwasher that the handyman ordered by the end of August. It's going on middle of October and we still haven't got it.
I ordered a door the other day for work, and you know, I don't want to name places out, but it's a pretty well-known place, big manufacturer. They can do custom or you can get standard or whatever. This is for a modular home, so it's majorly the modular company. You know, they took my money, obviously, charged me $125 for shipping, freight shipping. And on top of that, you know, it was supposed to be in basically like a week, and everything went through fine. And then within an hour of taking the money, they send an email stating that it's going to be at least 6 weeks.
Yeah, that sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, I can believe it. And like I said, we've been waiting. He ordered the dishwasher, I think it was in June. They told him he would have it in August, and we still haven't got it in October. So if they're telling you 6 weeks, expect 6 months.
Yeah. Well, thankfully the customer's not too concerned, but it's the principle of the matter. So it's a pretty crappy deal, and it would be nice if you knew that before you gave them money, because there's other companies out there. I mean, technically, I could have just put a standard door in for time's sake, but needless to say, it's sad.
Yeah, Kingpin saying that he ordered one for his customer's house. Going to take 6 months.
We're starting to build houses here with no windows. They've been saying 4 weeks, 8 weeks, all kinds of stuff. No windows.
Invest in saran wrap, people.
Sometimes there's delays even when there aren't shortages. Maybe it's something new to the market, and they just haven't made enough of them. I remember back during AWB, you could get 15-round mags for your Beretta all day long. All this, oh, they're banned. Yeah, they're banned, but there were tons of them out there. And Beretta came out with a 10-round mag, and I wanted to get one just to try it out. And I tried checking around, and everybody said, yeah, there's a 6-month back order on it. 6 months back order, but the law passed years ago. I said, yeah, I'll sell you a 15-rounder right now. I'm like, no, I want to get this 10. Got a hold of Beretta, called up to Maryland where they make the 15-round mags. And they said, yeah, we don't make them here. They're made in Italy. And I'm like, you're kidding, right? They're like, nope. They're going to make them over in Italy and ship them over here when they got them. They're not in any hurry. And it's a new product. They've got to retool for it. And they come in when they come in. Well, imagine if those 15-rounders weren't available, all the ones that were made before the ban took effect, and somebody was trying to get a mag for their gun, a spare mag, they couldn't even get it. So, I mean, sometimes it's not even some of the crazy, stupid shit that goes on right now that causes something that's in the catalog, supposed to be available. The law says you got to buy it, and you can't get it.
Oh, yeah. It's like right now, with the crazy stuff going on, and going back to your point about warehousing and stuff, you look at the companies that have the Ubertis and the Piettas, they're like the big box stores that have the big warehouses that ordered how many of them at a time. But when you look at the little custom shops like Taylor's & Co. or Cimarron, they're having a hard time getting any of them in because they're coming from Italy, and Italy's not exporting any of them right now.
I've been buying Beretta parts for years, and Beretta does have that problem. There's stuff I've signed up and paid for, and they're not going to charge me yet till they ship it. I've been waiting well over 2 years for parts from them. And you can go to their website, and stuff has been out of stock. Will notify you when it's available for years. So they're just like not the best, I will say, at upgrades and extra parts. 99% of the stuff that you'd want, yeah, it comes in and stays in pretty regularly, but there's always some things that, I mean, you just can't find. They just won't ship it.
Yeah, it took 3 months for me to get my SIG mags for my P365, if you remember.
The other thing is, it could be about Italy and shipping and stuff, because I have found some certain sites and some other things, just sites, I'm not talking barrels or anything, just sites and stuff for Beretta. You can find them on a European website, but they're not allowed legally to send it to America.
They're not sharing the good stuff, Jason.
I know it. Apparently, adjustable rear sights are unable to be sent here. Thanks, Bill Clinton.
Well, I'll give you one that's dumber than that. At our cattle lot down there, we've got a submersible well. Well, it's electric. It's a 1-horse, 34 gallon a minute pump, and it started slowing down here a couple days ago. And so we're like, okay, well, either this pump is getting plugged up or it's starting to go out. And the pumps that we always use is called Grundfos, and they're out of Sweden. And we've got them, any electric well we've got on our properties, it's all Grundfos because they're really, really good pump. Well, call up the company and a couple of sites that actually carry them. They're not exporting that stuff anymore because they're so far behind, and they want to keep the pumps on hand for their countrymen that we can't even get them now. And as far as having cattle and stuff like that, or even, on my property, that's what I've got in my well, just because they last so long and they're such high quality, you got to have water. So now we've got to go to this cheaper brand that my dad has ran in the past and says it lasts about half as long. So it's like, it kind of sucks on stuff like that. I mean, just on necessity stuff, just like everybody's been talking about, like dishwashers and deep freezes and stuff. And just like, nope, we're not going to send it out because demand over here is too high and we're not going to send any out. So, yeah.
Yeah,
It actually hits about every single product. I'm having trouble finding miter saws in the one that I want, and even parts are on like 21 day delays to ship. Yeah, so
Yeah, I had trouble too.
It's really about every product is going to have that same trouble. You just don't know it until you need that product.
yeah,
But, this is a big deal.
yeah, just get yourself a miter box and a handsaw. You'll be fine.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, but serious, go anywhere and click on anywhere where there's a miter, compound miter saw. And if they have the box, click made in the USA and nothing will come up. Every single saw is made in China. And I've seen shows on it, and it's just like everything else. The same factory over there makes like almost every brand there is. So, it's drifted to that in really some DeWalt's were out there a little bit ago, and they threw them on sale. Well, all the normal price stuff, the $350, $400 saws, they're gone, unavailable, don't have them. Oh, but they got plenty of the $500 saws left, But it hits every product. You just don't know it until you need that product.
Yeah, just go to Harbor Freight and get one. You'll be fine. Get one of their Chinesiums.
You know what? If I have to, any brand
Oh, yeah.
would actually work for me. You know what I mean? But I would destroy any saw within no time. Some saws are just great and fine if you're at home in your garage and you're just a little handyman around the house, and you only use it now and then. That saw lasts for years. If you go use it 10 hours a day every day, dragging it in and out of different houses, the like the Craftsman's or the home saws, they just don't hold up. They just can't. They'll fall apart. Every little thing that you can break, I would be able to break it.
There's a difference, and even just the pins on the wheels to to roll it in, or the bearings and stuff like that. A lot of those other ones, like you said, they'll work great for your average stuff, and even some side jobs here and there. But when you're using it every day, there's a big difference.
Yeah, there really is. I mean, even like a more professional grade saw, I'm hard on stuff, and they live a hard life when I'm their owner, and stuff just don't hold up and will fall apart, man. I got one right now. The motor screams so loud you can't stand it. I've got like a dozen of brushes that are all worn out and used, and I just keep swapping them in and out because it's 21-day back order for brushes. They cost $2, man. 21 days before they'll even start to ship them. And it's crazy. I got to basically go buy a brand new saw over some little bearing plates and some brushes, like $20 worth of parts that I can't get. So I have to go buy a $450, maybe $500 saw.
They're putting the parts on the line to keep the line running, because with the line shut down, it's costing them money. The parts, even though they're selling them at a higher price than, if you took the thing apart and sold it piece by piece, it'd be cheaper than buying the individual parts to put it together. It costs them money to make a separate SKU number for that part, and I'm not trying to make excuses for them. It's bullshit. I've had this explained to me why certain things you can get parts for and some things you can't, or you get certain bigger parts. For the smaller parts, forget it. You've got to buy the whole thing or make something, and it's like, oh yeah, do you realize how many stock numbers we'd have to have and do this and do that if we sold every single part to fix this? Oh my goodness. But they'll put a priority.
Brushes are kind of common, Squib, in the sense that they send those out. They give you extras in the package when you buy it, usually. So most people have no clue what the hell they are and throw them away, but they're pretty common. What would be nice is if some of this shit was actually made in America nowadays, and you could find it, or it was available and didn't have to be shipped. And then what's really scary, if you think of machining and stuff, most ball bearings come from China, even if it's in, what would be perceived as an American part. Without ball bearings, the earth kind of stops turning in a sense as far as mechanically. So that's kind of had me concerned, because everything runs on ball bearings.
Let's say the assembly line for the final product that uses that part is behind. They're going to put a priority on keeping that assembly line stocked before they have service parts keeping these in inventory. It's bullshit, but that's the way it's been explained to me how it works. And yeah, that would be another thing that our politicians should be coming on TV going, you know what? Because of some of the problems we've discovered because of this corona thing, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make laws that make it more conducive to things being made here in America, so we don't have to depend on all this, and we don't have these shortages again. But they're not doing that, are they?
Now, here's a question. Have you guys looked at like your local pawn shop, see if they have a used one that could, hold you over until things are back to normal? 'Cause I know that here, the pawn shop, they constantly have power tools because people are constantly pawning them because they need the money, or selling them because they need the money.
In Rob's neighborhood, they're stealing them.
They were, so all the pawn shops got closed down because they were always under police investigation.
Yeah, I don't have a pawn shop. Yeah, there's no pawn shops here.
Yeah, the one here, man, they always have power tools in there constantly. Drills, miter saws, table saws, you name it. You would think you walked into a Sears back 20 years ago or something,
Yeah, I was shocked in Florida. They have pawn shops, like one on each corner, it seems like, with more selection than a lot of small stores do. So, but yeah, we don't have that in my area.
Yeah, they got a chain of them down there. Can't remember the name of them, but there's I don't know and how much of the state it covers, but they're a chain, and I'm going, wow, you're big enough to have multiple stores.
Yeah, Snob says the pawn shops in his area are bare.
That's because he keeps buying all their mics and cameras and tripods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's nice to get a power tool and stick with it, though, as long as you can and whatnot, instead of swapping around or buying something real cheap to get by, because there's a difference between getting by and doing your job right with ease. And, the right tool, it adds up, especially if you're only focused on one aspect. Thankfully, I don't do trim every day, like Jason in a sense, or, so I can't, my saws don't even get the use his probably does, but, I've had troubles with mine. So there's definitely a difference. Even, cutting a sheet of plywood, if you use one of them cheap skill saws, yeah, it gets it done. It's not a problem. But you put your hand on, a quality Milwaukee or DeWalt or something, and it's a totally different experience. You know, it's
Mhm.
almost like a economy car versus a Cadillac.
That's so true, Rob. For every tool and for every gun, for that matter, all my life, even just like working on a car, there's a big difference of having a nice Snap-on or a Mac or even an old Craftsman or something than it is a China tool from, Walmart. There's a difference. You just can't do quality work without quality tools. You just really can't. And that goes across the whole spectrum.
I come into this maintenance department at this factory almost 3 years ago, and their company toolbox is a Cobalt box with a bunch of Cobalt tools in there. And for somebody who does general work around their house, general car repair of their own, that's not bad. But at a factory, that don't cut it. So I rolled in my Snap-on box, and I've got tools here that will do the job better than these Cobalt tools. And they've broke tool after tool after tool out of this box. Some of it, I think it's got a 90-day warranty now. It used to have a lifetime warranty. I haven't broke one of my tools yet here. And it's like most factories, the maintenance department, you got to show up with your own toolbox. You don't, bigger things like a 3/4 impact wrench or a bandsaw or something like that, that's a company tool. But for there to be a company toolbox, this one is, I don't know, it's just not up to stuff to working on $1 million machines, but that's the way they do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I fight with my wife all the time if I need to buy a tool. I haven't bought tools in a while because, not owning a house or anything is like, I can't do my own repairs here, or else I get in trouble. So I don't have any right now. But when I was buying tools, she used to yell at me all the time, like, "Oh, get this! This one's $20 cheaper." I was like, "Yeah, there's a reason for that, right?" She gets so mad. It's like, "But it's cheaper." Like, yeah, there's a reason that's cheaper.
For years, I bought a tool a week religiously. Didn't matter what it was. If I got a paycheck, I bought a tool. Whether it was a little guide to, set finish nails or a different pry bar or a siding pull bar, or, and it's to the point now where I'll have 2 or 3 or something sometimes, but it does make all the difference getting the right tools for things. If you're into the trades or whatever, don't be cheap. So nobody likes to see that guy that's done it all and shows up with a new tool belt and a dollar store hammer,
And time is money. And some of these tools are time savers. It doesn't just save wear and tear on your body, especially when you get older, but they're time savers. And it always seems
and molding bars. You watch new people go ahead with their dollar store hammer and try to pull a piece of molding and destroy the wall. There's just, the right tool for the right job. It's so much quicker and easier and less work. So
it seems like the tool always breaks at 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday. You ain't getting a new tool then. So, even if you said, I'll just buy a cheap replacement, unless you've got a 24-hour auto parts store and they happen to have that particular tool, and you don't care, you just need another one. So good quality tools that don't break when you use them come in handy. Nothing's totally indestructible, but some things are stronger than others.
Yeah, my toolbox, I got about 3 of everything, just in case one breaks.
I've got extra toolboxes, but I've made them up for my kid and this and that. I got one down here, one for outside, one for this, one in my truck. But yeah, you got it. Yeah, I couldn't afford life without fixing half my own stuff, so I can't speak for everybody else. But if I had to pay for every little thing, around my house or vehicles, shit, I'd be broke. I'd be driving a moped.
Well, to that logic, Pat, it's the same thing with guns. Some people, oh man, my gun broke. It's got a lifetime warranty. I got to ship it back to the factory. Oh, it's going to be 8 weeks before I got it back. Okay, yeah, and? Well, that was my only concealed carry gun. Well, then go buy another concealed carry gun. Duh. It's like that's the only gun you can take another one out of the safe, and it's another reason to have a variety.
I think the last tool I bought was my other than firearms, because firearms are a tool. The last hand tool I bought Well, I guess a firearm is a hand tool because you can't, you hold it with your hand, right? Anyway, the last tool I bought was my multi-tool, my Gerber multi-tool. And it was $80 for this one. My wife's like, well, they got that one there. That one's only 40. Why don't you get that one? I was like, because that one's 40 and it doesn't do what I want it to do.
Yeah, speaking of the multi-tools, my brother he's a professional electrician, journeyman, and he works for the next town over here. And he's had 2 full sets of Gerbers, multi-tools. And, just plumb wore out the first one, replaced some stuff on it, and the joints and everything got so loose on it just because he used it every single day, and just like you were saying, his wife was badgering on him, well, this one's only like 30 or 40 bucks. Why don't you get this one? And he grabs it up and he flexes it back and forth, and he takes his old Gerber and flexes it back and forth. He goes, this one is already half shot. This is a brand new one, and it wobbles worse than the other one. You do the math. And she was kind of like, oh. And he goes, well, this is going to break right off the bat. And he says, you see this little saw with the teeth and everything on it and the wire strippers and stuff on it? It's soft metal. It'll never hold up to any of the gauges of wires I want to strip or anything like that. So, yeah. If you want a good multi-tool, definitely go with a Gerber.
Yeah, Gerber and Leatherman are the 2 best, I think. And I mean, some of them aren't too bad in price. But yeah, you've got the $10, $20 specials. And I mean, if you're losing these things constantly or whatnot, I guess at that point you're just buying them and disposing them.
Electricians have a lot of tools.
Yeah, I was looking at.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, you could tell him to just put a tool belt on, man. Sounds like he's using the hell out of those things. I don't know what he's doing, but I know my father was an electrician, things like that. And a lot of those tools, you get a nice pair of cutters, they'll last a lifetime if you're not cutting live wires. So I don't know. I still have stuff that my dad had from 30 years ago that would work fine.
Well, yeah, but I cut live wires so I can mark my tools. That way I know which ones are mine.
Yeah, I was looking at the Gerber I got and the Leatherman. The thing that got me to worry about this Gerber is the screwdriver on it. It actually goes center line with the tool, so it's actually functions more like an actual screwdriver would, and not be offset like most of your multi-tool screwdrivers are. So you have less chance of cross-threading if you're using this and whatnot.
Yeah, on my Leatherman.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, on my Leatherman, the screwdriver bits are what I use more than anything else. I use all of it, but that's what I use. And the Phillips on there, even though it's real low profile, that thing will pull a stripped screw out like nobody's business.
To me, I see those things as like a Jeep. Like, they'll do just about anything, but not as well as a proper tool. So I honestly don't use them. I've had one as a gift, this and that. I used it, it wore out. Feel bad about it. Now I wish I didn't use it. Still keep it for sentimental values, but they just don't hold up for me. So if you're doing any kind of real work, you need a real tool. I don't know. To me,
they're
that's
not
like
made to be building a
MacGyver
house
if you're in
with,
a
Rob.
jam or something. But to use 9 to 5 on your job, unless you're like setting stones and earrings or something, to me, it's not a real tool.
I use it here for the entire shift. I've had my boss ask to borrow it. I've asked the production, the process guys asked to borrow my Leatherman. I use it around the house too, and I always keep it handy. I keep my Leatherman more handy than I do my my flashlight or my cell phone. And my first one, the TSA got it, and I was pretty much heartbroken by that. The second one I've held on to. I've made sure I remember to pack it in my luggage when I fly and all the other stuff, because it was just, man, that was just a bad feeling when I had to get that up.
Hey guys, I'm gonna take off. I gotta get up early in the morning.
All right, Buck. See you later, man. Have a good night.
All right, y'all have a good one.
Take care,
Tell you
bud.
what, man. This Gerber, the little pry bar on there, I had a case get stuck in my Heritage Rough Rider because the casing swelled when I fired it. I popped that thing right out of there, out of that cylinder with the little pry bar on here. That thing comes in handy for things like that.
Hey, I got a quick question to Squib. Which one, if anybody's carrying a Leatherman, do they carry the Signal or the Wave? Which one do they carry?
I've got the Wave.
Yeah, my brother carries the Wave, and he pretty much uses that just about every single day when he's doing electrical work and stuff, just because, if he's clear up in a bucket truck, and he doesn't have a certain tool, then yeah, that works. Or if he's at the power plant or something, so they're handy, but I will go with Rob on that. As far as a dedicated tool to something, you can't beat that. But a Leatherman, a good quality Leatherman or a good quality Gerber, still hard to beat.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. The cutters on this do not replace my Klein diagonal cutters, right? And the needle nose on them aren't as good as some of the needle, especially something really narrow or something. The knives are okay for cutting open boxes, cutting through plastic or something like that, but they're not butchering a head. I'm not going to get a deer with my leather. Stuff like that. The scissors on there, they'll work for little things, but I wouldn't be cutting heavy with it. I mean, I like for it to have a corkscrew on it. That's the only thing I'm disappointed with.
Your volume is real low, Squib.
Damn it. So I would like for it to have a corkscrew on it, but other than that, it's got all the other tools. But when you're right there and you're underneath the machine or you're out in the middle of nowhere or whatever's going on and the other tools are too far away, it's nice having that thing right there at your side.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm sorry. As soon as you said corkscrew, I'm reminded of a old Robin Williams bit. That was Robin Williams on Broadway that said, "This is your corkscrew. This is how you open Chardonnay under fire."
I actually got two multi-tools. I just thought of that. This is a multi-tool. It's a knife and a bottle opener.
Oh, what brand's that little doozy there?
It's a Hogue.
Oh, like the grip?
Yeah, like the grip. Yeah, it's made by the grip company. I think they contract out to Boker, and Boker makes their knives for. Yeah, see.
Well, I should throw a disclaimer out there.
It's a Hogue.
Nice. I'm gonna say a disclaimer that in my truck I have a bunch of tools. In my car I have tools. In my house I'm surrounded by tools throughout my life. So maybe that's why it's not as important to me. Although I do think it is nice to have on a backpack or hiking or any kind of survival or day pack thing. Great to have. But for me, the disclaimer, I got to I can't move without tripping over a tool. So that might be a little different. So I don't want to bash all you multi-tool guys out there.
No, I didn't think you were bashing. There's a time and a place for, if you've got the entire toolbox there next to the machine and you're working on it, that's great. But if the toolbox is a 5-minute walk and you can use a multi-tool to fix the problem in 2, guess what? You're using the multi-tool because time is money.
Mm-hmm. Or if you got to tighten up a radiator hose real quick and you don't have tools in your car because somebody took your toolkit out, but you got your multi-tool on your belt, guess what you're using? And yes, I've had that happen.
So, okay,
Yep, it's got on hand.
sometimes it comes down to just being too lazy to go get the right tool.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, I've snapped a few knives that way.
Used them as pry bars there, New York.
That'd be correct.
Yeah, see, that's why you get the multi-tool like I got, because it has an actual pry bar on it. It's tiny little.
But I've been known to break pry bars too. And breaker bars.
I guess you need a big ass crowbar, but if you're breaking breaker bars, I don't think it's gonna matter.
My pocket tool will be so big I can't carry it.
Your pocket tool will be a backpack, a camping backpack. Not a school backpack. The one with the iron, with the aluminum or steel frame and
Alice pack.
Yeah, I love my Alice.
A lot of people complain about those, but I always thought they were fairly good packs. I don't know, I know a few of you have served or whatnot, but I don't know if you've also been into the hiking or camping world where some of the aftermarket EMS packs, they have the space, the removable lightweight rails that go in. I've worn quite a few different packs, and I got to say the Alice pack wasn't bad with the amount of weight you were really carrying. And before all this, they were available for like $50-$60. When you compare that to some of these other packs, it's a steal.
Yeah, I just thought of what you could use for a pry bar that you probably won't break. A tanker bar.
Yeah, I just got a problem with pushing the limit. So
yeah, I'm sure you can find a used tanker bar somewhere. There's got to be a surplus one somewhere you can get.
I have 3 on hand right now.
What, a tanker bar?
Yeah, if we're talking about the same thing, it's actually used to move tankers on railroad cars.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. They use for putting the treads back on a tank.
Pat, what you're talking about is a pinch bar.
Yeah.
There we go. Yep. Sorry, Squib. I totally got crossed up on that.
The tanker bar is for the
long pry bar.
Yeah, basically the giant pry bar is what a tanker bar is, that they use to pry the treads back onto a tank when the treads pop off.
Okay, Squib, you know which bar I'm talking about. You know how heavy those damn things are.
The tanker bar ain't like either.
Yeah, and you know what? The tanker bar might end up being, it might be the same pinch bar. Last time I looked at one, I was on the Mac tool truck and almost bought it. It's, that's where I learned that they use them for moving rail cars. But my application was going to be for just bumping a press or some other heavy machine on a platform, along a little bit, try to get under and kind of just inch it a little bit this way or that way or whatnot. We just take steel stock or something like that and end up bending it, from all the abuse it took. And I figured like a hardened steel bar would do that. And I know I'm sure a lot of companies sell them, but the only place I ever saw them was on the Mac tool truck.
No, I've got 3 original ones from the old train depots around here. Those old pinch bars, and I've heard the old guys call them tanker bars too. So it
might be the same thing.
Kind of heard the interchangeability on it, I guess.
So he's the guy looting all the train stations out there. Just so y'all know.
No.
A pinch bar is going to be about 6 foot long, maybe 5 foot, but it's probably closer to 6. It's going to be heavier at one end than the other, and you're going to have kind of a broader flat piece at one end than at the other. The other end's going to be more rounded and pointed and narrower, and the one end is rounded and more narrow so you can get grip on it, and the other end is a little bit broader and flat so you can get it underneath something and just get the leverage on it. The length is for the leverage. So it's probably the same tool, just different names.
Yeah, it sounds that the way you describe that sounds just like what a tanker tool would be, the tanker bar. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there used to be Old Depot, just like literally a mile away where I live, and they had a sale here. Oh shoot, it's probably been 10, 12 years ago, and they were selling out the Old Depot and stuff. And I saw those bars and I was like, you know what, that'd be really nifty just to have on the farm to wedge tires, you know, great big tractor tires. And I'm talking like LSW 1200 tires off of floaters, and great big articulated like 8650 tractors or 8700s and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why I picked them up, and I think I got them for like $15 a piece, something like that.
Yeah, I use a bar similar to that, probably about 5.5, close to 6 feet long. At the one end, it's maybe 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches down to a point. The other end gets to close to 3 inches, and then maybe a foot to the bottom, it kind of squares out, and then another 8 to 10 inches to the bottom, I guess. Not 8 to 10 inches, but probably 6 inches to the bottom. It rounds back out to a bigger point. And my main use for that thing is like, you know, if I'm digging holes and an auger gets stuck, if there's some rock you got to get through, or push something aside down in a hole, things like that, it works great. So not sure what the bar was intended for or where it came from. I got it from my dad. Used it for years, but that thing's basically indestructible. So great tool to have. You know, I called it the persuader because you can persuade anything to move with that bar.
Yeah, okay. You guys seeing this? This is your basic tanker bar right here. You got
Mine don't look like that.
Yeah.
We call that a spud bar.
Yeah. So you've got the flat end here, and you got the rounded head up here to keep your hands from slipping off when you're trying to leverage the treads and stuff on your tank.
Yeah, I've got two like that, and then the other one actually kind of I don't know. I've heard this slang thrown around for it too. It's called a toe heel bar. It's actually square down at the one end, and the one end has a toe on it and a heel. Think of like a kid's shoe, like 6 or 7, and it's got a toe and a heel, and you can really press down on that, and man, that thing will just about leverage anything around that you want to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've got two like that.
Yeah, and those things are made to, you know, move tank parts around. You know, tanks aren't light. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, I know the guys from CAT definitely have those on there.
Yeah, Snob's out there saying a bunch of stuff that he uses something like that for too. So, you know, they could have multiple different uses, I'm sure. I mean, that's probably going to be a pretty versatile tool for moving like rocks and stuff like that if you have a farm or, you know, doing landscaping stuff too. So
yeah, Mystic could use it to roll his ass out of bed too.
Yeah, it'd definitely be able to be used for that. And if it can move a tank, it can move a snob.
slowly but surely.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say
You
it was
just
gonna
got
be bad.
back, didn't you, Jay? You wouldn't let the dog out, huh? He's off again.
I heard you, Rob. Could you repeat that?
No, I just said you took off to go let the dog out, didn't you? The way you came in on that one,
No,
sound
I
like
was-
you just got done running back in or something.
No, I was caught up in the chat.
Yeah.
I was just telling Snob I cope mine, and he said he used a coping saw. I use a miter saw. It's much
I
easier.
just okay. Yeah.
Coping saw
Just
with
tell,
a miter. Yeah.
You,
Mystic out there, maybe some fireworks will get them moving.
what I'm talking about is, you know what it'll look like when you're done using a coping saw. Well, I put the baseboard up on my saw, and I cut it at a 45-degree angle, back
I do
cut.
the same thing, and then
Then you take the board, flip it around upside down the other direction, and you're still cutting it at 45, but now you're going to cut and cut off basically the thickness of that board, and you can cut it all the way down straight with one shot. Pick the board up or your saw up just a tiny bit and pull the board back, and you'll knock off most of that material that you need to cut on the tip and the design that's put into your board. And then you can just pull down on the saw and move out with the board at the same time, just like a ballet dance, and just trim that out perfect, and you're done. It only takes a second. And what you do is you add, if you're going to coat both ends of the board, you take your measurement and you add 1/8 of an inch to it. And if you're only coping one end of the board, you add 1/16 of an inch to it. Then when you put that board in there, you can bow it out and snap it in place, and there's no cracks showing. It'll mash itself together.
Yeah. You got, man, back before they had power tools, they were doing that with coping saws on miter boxes.
Now, sometimes you can get some big crown, like some, like 8-inch crown, maybe even 10-inch crown, and you'll have to go back to coping it with a coping saw.
Yeah.
But for any normal size stuff, yeah, doing it on a miter saw. I mean, you got to do a whole house in a day. We can't play around here with coping saws. You know what I mean? You better cut the whole board in 1 minute.
The Amish make it work. Look how fast those fools raise a barn.
Oh, okay. So here's a question.
with power tools.
There's a dozen of them. There's one of me.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta get yourself some helpers, man. What happened to your helper that was wearing the sexy clothes you were telling us?
Got one electric outlet.
So here's a question I've got for you.
He doesn't work tools.
Well, you gotta train her right then, man. Come on. What's wrong with you?
So I've got a question for you contractor guys. So when it comes to learning how to use a firearm, I recommend that people start off with iron sights before they go to an optic. But there are people out there that started on an optic who say, no, you don't need to do that, or they don't even like the idea of the thought of iron sights, or that's just old fashioned, blah, 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 blah. For what you guys do with power tools, do you think an apprentice starting off should have to do it by hand with hand tools before they graduate to power tools, the same way I think you should use irons before you go to an optic? Or do you think it's okay to just jump in using power tools and to hell with the hand tools?
I think it'd be just fine to go with the normal power tools. Some of the plain hand tools, you're kind of getting into a true craftsman's skill. You know what I mean? As to where, the power tools, if I can teach you to read a tape measure, we'll be just fine.
Yeah, because there's some saws when you get to cutting, if you drag that, unless you're running something Chinese or Japanese, because they do it on the back cut, when you're running that saw forward and you drag that saw blade back on a hand tool, especially, if you're in a miter box or something like that, you can really screw up a nice piece of wood and chip the crap out of it on a hand tool. So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, because you almost got to be kind of a craftsman to do it old school and make things turn out looking good.
I think you could get by, just running almost like Jason said. The speed of things, the way things go nowadays, it's I think you can get by fine starting off with power tools, things like that. But I also think it should be, one of them things where you try to come up with an alternate, because there will be a time you drove an hour and a half out of town, something broke, and you could get it done if you had the skill or time, but because you don't, you're just, going to call it a day, and that's a loss. And in some places you can't do that. So I think it's good to have multiple options, multiple tools, whether that's skills or whatever, to get the one job done. And obviously take your easiest, most preferred, the one that you can do the best, and run with that. But if something comes up, you should be able to, figure out another way to get the job done if you had to, personally. But I think this is different, because as far as firearms, I think you should start iron sights, because regular sights could fail. And you're talking about your life or somebody else's life depends on it, not the outcome of a project. So I think it's a total different comparison, but yeah, that's what I got to say.
Yeah, Snob says no because he pays his helper by the hour. And he probably chased one or two off because he has all those bloodstains on the coping saw from cutting the cows or the bulls, turning them into steers.
A problem with stuff is finding people that are just good. People that just can naturally pick up on things, that can feel it. It's the difference between somebody that drives a car and a driver. Your tires are a little low, or something's off, or you got a problem, because you just feel it. It. When you get working with your hands and you get to that level, you can't even explain how you did half the shit you did sometimes, and it's already done. So for somebody else to keep up with that, like, they got to kind of be that person that, isn't afraid, but isn't a dumbass. They're going to ask questions or whatever, but they got to be willing to kind of, take a chance out there too. And a lot of times in the business that I've come across, you got people that think they know everything, and they'll just destroy product, and they always got a story in the end. Or you got other people that are too scared to try to do anything, and it's hard to find people that work good.
Yeah, I just have a question for you, Rob. Did you bribe Snob or something today? Because he's just making all kinds of good comments about you out there, agreeing with you and saying nice things to you.
No, a broken clock is right at least once a day, right? Maybe twice.
Well, it depends on if it's a digital or a hand clock.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm glad you got that.
Maybe it's a bromance. Snob's in a New York state of mind.
Nah, it's hard. I mean, it's the same thing with your kids. I mean, sometimes they just don't pick up on things the way you do, and sometimes, I think that's why parents get frustrated with kids sometimes with things. But people just learn things different, and people are better with different things. So, a good helper already knows what you're going to need before you do. Before you hit that step and go to turn around, they're handing it to you. The average guy now, he's off on his cell phone, or kicking a rock, or staring at the girls next door, or something. You know what I mean? There's a difference, and that doesn't have a size, color, or shape. It's within the individual, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's in the factory we've got kind of two mindsets. You'll have the one apprentice that the machine doesn't work and he doesn't check anything. He just goes and grabs me and he says, "Hey, I can't get this damn thing to work. Fix it." And I'll look it over and I'll say, "Did you turn it on?" and we'll flip the switch to on, and what do you know, the damn thing works. Like, thanks for wasting my time, kid. Then you'll have the other one that tries everything 4 times, yelling, cussing, throwing tools, knocking over ladders, throwing a fit, and I'll ask him what's wrong, and he said, this damn thing isn't working, and I'll look it over and go to find that the problem is something else unrelated to the machine, and it's something that I would fix. And if he had just come to find me after the first or maybe second time trying to get it to work, I would have already had the problem resolved. And if you don't have the aptitude for that, you're going to end up with one of those two mindsets. There's some people that just, they're not mechanically inclined, or they don't know how to work well within a group, or I don't know, just they want the position because it's more money, but they're not willing to accept the level of responsibility or having to think on your feet or something. But I think too that there are lots of managers out there that want things done a certain way, but they also don't want to take the time to train their people or communicate with their people. And when you've got somebody that's been there for a while and they're still not doing what is expected, it's like, it's because you never told me what you expect. So sometimes training somebody is one of those things that'll take care of that. But then you run the risk of, you just put 6 months into this guy and he quits for another $1 an hour. And you're like, great, now I got to start all over again. There's no real easy way.
Starting to get a little racy there in the chat between. That's
Yeah, right. You noticed that too.
You're the only hand that I needed.
For all the people that aren't handy people, I'd say, everybody excels or, has their areas. So, by all means, I'm the guy you might want to get you out of a jam if a tree fell on your house, but you probably don't want me doing your taxes, So, there's ups and downs to everything. So I think, people just got to try to get in where they fit in a little more sometimes with the building world.
I'll have to say, I never planned on it to be that way, but you know how they always say, do a job that you love and you never worked a day in your life. I tell you all the time, I work 7 days a week, year after year. People can't take it for a month in their factory. They're going crazy. I do it constantly, work every day. And it truly does end up like that. I've done my job so long and do it my own way that it's really not as labor intensive on me as it is somebody with lesser experience. So you can actually master a craft, and it becomes just second nature to you. So it's a big difference. And I've loved other things I've done, and I thought I'd be a lot of different things in life. And back in those days, funny, I couldn't cut a piece of wood straight to save my life. I was always a metal guy. I was always a mechanic guy. I could never do wood at all, and I always wanted to. And once I got into doing woodworking, I've never went back. It's almost like second nature, and I enjoy it. And it really is cool to do something, that you say you love, or at least don't hate, like your time card. I got a very good setup how I do it. I really don't have a boss around. I don't have anybody over my head. I'm completely relaxed, calm, no drama. So that's why I do what I do.
Snob says if we would watch his videos, he could retire from contracting. No, he should have just took some and picked some of them tomatoes the other day, and he could have sold them and made a fortune. Made a small fortune off of those tomatoes he saw growing at that place that he was working on.
Tomatoes. Snob was smart. He would have got a mobile snack van and set up outside.
I don't think we're talking about the same kind of tomatoes, Rob.
I always work on 2-story houses. It's one story when you're told to get there, and it's a whole other story once you're there.
Yeah, I get those too. Or it's just one thing, and you get there and it's like, oh, just I need this too, or one more thing, and it's like, oh my God, yeah, I didn't know I had to schedule a day over here.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like when I used to work for John Deere.
I love how they tell you it only takes a minute. I'm like, yeah, that's why you called me, right? That's
Yeah, if you know how to do it, why the hell didn't you do it yourself?
yeah.
God, I used to get that all the time.
Well, I don't say that, but I think that.
Yeah, when I was working in computer building and repair, our one neighbor would constantly call me. I need help fixing this. I was like, why? Because I did this. I was like, didn't I tell you not to do that? He's like, yes. So now you want me to come up there and fix that for you for free. He's like, do you know how much I get paid if I were to charge somebody for my going to their home to do that? He's like, how much? He's like, you don't want to know because you couldn't afford it. I hung up on him. I was tired of fixing his computer constantly.
I'll tell you a good one. I work for subcontract into one of the biggest builders in America for condominiums, and they build literally thousands of them a year. And now all of a sudden they can't get a framer or a drywaller to make a wall that's not as wavy as the ocean, and they can't do an outside corner straight for anything. So they have me.
Stop hiring union people.
They go to me, and now it's how I've been doing it too. But I go ahead and run my trim and like my baseboard straight and make sure it's straight and flat, and then they'll come back and move and build the wall in around my trim work.
That's sad, man. That's sad.
Because what's happening is I follow the wall. I'll get mad and irritated like everybody else. I said I love my job, but I'll be like, hey, I can only do with what you give me to work with. So, corners will look crooked, and you don't know until they put the floor in.
You're the finish guy.
Until they put the floor in, and then you see the trim on the baseboard in your shoe mold when you go to put it in doesn't match the grout work or the slabs of your hardwood floor. And then you got to tear everything back off and straighten it up, and they've changed the wall anyways. So now they just got me doing my trim on perfect 90-degree corners, and they'll build and re-corner bead the walls and everything and put them back in straight. So you'll walk in before they get there, and I'll have corners and boards sticking out 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch farther than the wall is, and they'll just build the whole thing back in.
They trust your little 3/4 inches of lap wood. 45. Yeah,
well, it's not hard when you have one board and you have your outside corner cut, and you got
I get you. But I'm just saying they trust that over themselves and stuff. I mean, it's just that.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. Everybody's in a hurry. Nobody gives a damn about quality or doing anything right.
Now, Rob, to your point, about half the skilled trades union guys I've dealt with have been some of the best, and the other half have been some of the worst. It depends on the union. It really does.
New York has the worst, at least in my area. I tell you, everywhere I go, I walk around and I'm like, oh my God. Like, some of this stuff is ridiculous. The offices around here, places downtown. I mean, you can't, I don't know, unless you do it, you can't believe it. You know what I mean?
And to your point,
and they're making money.
And to your point, Jason, I've dealt with production versus service. And the production guys follow the print. They don't give a damn if it doesn't fit. They're following the print. And then the service guys have got to fix it later under warranty, or the maintenance guy, me, has to go back and fix it later. And I'm charging by the hour, and I'm charging overtime and double time. And it's like, maybe if you had me do this instead of the installers, we wouldn't be doing this twice. So sometimes even, when you've got some good installers on the team, you've got some other guys. I don't know how many times I've been on a construction project, and I've been there going, this isn't going to fit. Well, it doesn't matter. That's what the print says. But this isn't right. You've got everything you need to do it right, I'm going to have to go back when you're done. And it doesn't matter. We have to do the print. The print. It's all about the print. Damn. You guys aren't paid to think, are you? No, the print. I think everybody's got a different perspective coming in from their part of the whole project.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen
machinist work in the shop. I know what the print's all about.
I've seen developments, where I had a friend that bought a place, tried to talk them out of it, but they didn't listen. And they stayed for like 2 years and they were out of that place. But that's a whole nother story. But this just overpriced houses. Everything's cookie cutter. It's in your own little, community. There's homeowners association, all that type of crap. The house, the shingles were overlapped. The drip edge was lapped the wrong way. Studs in the garage didn't even touch the plates. So I don't know how they, somebody must have held the stud in the back while they screwed in the drywall. And that was within the contract, 2 inches of leeway in the contract. Basically just the shoddiest work you could imagine, kind of, and lazy, honestly lazy. But anybody that, works on a roof, people that don't work on roofs understand the flow of water and how you slap something. So basically, before they even moved their furniture in their house, they already had water leaks. Their walls kept cracking and stuff, just normal vibrations that shouldn't be a problem. But, nothing was built right, and they were paying outrageous money for this place. And, got in trouble when we showed up to help move in because there was too many vehicles outside. So, people are crazy, but they're out there paying for it.
On this week's episode of This Old Shitty House, Rob breaks down how contractors suck.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to cut this short, anyway, because Midnight has sent his links out, so we're gonna have to. Yeah, it was an interesting conversation, but yeah. So, Jason, you got anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Keep things level and plumb. Good to see you all, man. Thanks for having me.
Learn to use them plumb lines, folks.
I always say I don't need a level. What do I need a level for? Your floor ain't level, your wall ain't level. Last thing you want is me to put something in level.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is very true. That is absolutely true.
I've hung 500,000 doors and never used a level. I don't need to use one today.
What about you, Rob? Anything you want to say?
No, thanks for having me, and take care, everybody.
Oh, dear God. Before we go, read this one from Snob. I don't know what to say on this one. This is why you don't do your roof yourself, people, if you don't know what the hell you're doing.
That's funny. That's funny right there.
That's pretty good. I like that one.
Oh, my Lord.
I guess you just tar over it. That's probably you can do.
And I've seen people try to tar the 3 tabs, so that they'll go out with caulk and just caulk all the little lines on the 3 tab to try to get more time off the roof.
No, I've seen them mop the whole
I've seen people wear cleats on a roof. Sporting cleats, to paint a roof. The painter was out there walking around with cleats on these people's roof. It was in a historic house too. It was horrible. Horrible.
Yeah, well, the metallic tar stuff that you use on metal roofs. I saw somebody putting that shit on wood shingles before.
I've seen that. I've seen people just dump that shit down their valleys.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that sucks when you got to go rip that off a couple years later.
Oh yeah, that stuff is not easy to remove. Anyway, moving on. Pat, anything you want to say?
Well, it was definitely a really good chat tonight. We definitely went on several different tangents, and that's kind of what I've expected on this chat, and which I love. So, I guess with that final note, thanks for having me on, Rich, and thanks for everybody being on tonight. It was definitely a good conversation. So everybody stay safe and carry their weapon.
All right, Squibby, you're last. Anything you want to say?
Thanks for helping me get through startup at the plant. Appreciate it.
Yep, no problem. And with that, we will bid you all adieu, and we will see you next week. This is where you throw out your taglines.
Pay it forward. Take care, everybody.
Don't be a dumbass.
Drive it like you stole it.
And we'll see you on the range. And have a go ahead.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.